Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I just wanted to hop on here and go over a couple things that I was thinking might help everybody. I'm going to go over soft offers, info gathering, and talking about the three main types of life insurance. So this is just about cross-selling to existing policyholders for the most part. A soft offer is when you're doing service work and bringing an offer into the conversation unexpectedly, and it's just a yes, I would like that, or no, I wouldn't. It's not a super pushy sales conversation. It's just making an offer. So for this, they're going to call in, and let's say her name is Betty, and Betty needs to know the deductible on her comprehensive because she backed into a pole. And you're like, sure, Betty, let me take a look at that for you one moment while I review your policy. And you are, in fact, going to look at her policy, but you're also just going to pop up a little offer for her as well. And you know that Betty's 63. And you are just, if you don't, first and foremost, if you do not have Final Expense Toolkit and want to sell life insurance, you should. It's under $40 a month. You can use Mentor 15, MENTOR 15 for a lifetime 15 discount. That's Joanna's, I think. I'm not taking credit for that. So you would just use that, or if you don't have that, you should be appointed with Foresters. Everyone that's contracted under me is appointed with Foresters, and if you're not, you should get that because it's the best basic life insurance company to cover all stages of life. They offer a good whole life term, UL, and children's policy. So that's a good one to contract with. They have a quick quote. It's just, I have it bookmarked and I just hit Forrester's quick quote and I can run a quote in like 10 seconds. And I'd be like, well, I know Betty's 53. I don't think she smokes. You don't really know. I generally quote non-smoking, and then once we get further into the conversation, I'll clarify that they do not smoke. But sometimes you know. So I just put non-smoking. I know she's 63. I just use the average. So for the average female woman, the height is 5'6", and the weight is actually 180. I looked that up today. And I would see that through Foresters, it's $59.81 a month. I looked on my Final Expense Toolkit, but that is not the most affordable one. But that's where I would probably just place my basic customer because Foresters is worth a few extra dollars. Like Mutual is $55. It's only $2 more. But if you just down Foresters, that will give you a really baseline. Like there's some that are more affordable and some that are more expensive. So you're in kind of the middle. And I'd be like, taking care of her question. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear you hit that pole, Miss Betty. I see that your deductible is $500. What was the estimate for? And she'd be talking. I'd be like, oh, well, let me know if you need any help. Also, I did see an offer pop up for $15,000 of final expense coverage, and it's only $59.81 a month. How's that fit your budget? And she'd be like, oh, that's not too bad. Or sometimes they'll be like, oh, that doesn't fit my budget at all, honey. I'm just looking to get cremated. I love that one because they tell you they're open to it, but you just offered them too much. And you'd be like, well, Miss Betty, cremation, I see that $7,500, which is the perfect amount for final expenses, and a little something extra would only be like $32 a month. Does that sound better? And it's going to give you that window, and they might say no. A lot of times they do, but a surprising amount say yes. When I worked at Gerber, we used the soft offer. I worked in service claims the most of the time, and I sold like 75 policies a month, just making 2 offers on every phone call, one at the beginning, one at the end. The 2 offers I made were accidental death insurance for adults and an increase on children's policies. I was selling to existing clients and I was selling 75 policies a month. So you can definitely sell like 5 at least this way. So for soft offers for female, I use 5'6", 180. For men, I use 6 feet 210. For children, you usually have kind of like a basic idea of how old a kid is. You might not know exactly, but they're like, oh, Johnny's in 4th grade. And you're like, well, that's like 10. I'll use 10 for my quote. That's a great one when they're chatting about their kids. Be like, oh, I don't see your kid's life insurance. I'm seeing that $25,000 of coverage is less than $15 a month. Why don't we get that started? And it at least opens the conversation. How does that sound to you is always a really good question because it's not yes or no. They're going to have to give you their actual objection. I try to make my offers with how does that sound to you, and it works quite well. So the offers I make are $250,000 of accidental insurance for $20 a month. Forrester's is $19.78, I think. Children's whole life, $25,000 for most children's under $15 a month. And once you open that window, I actually fill out my jot form myself for the client. Like I have the conversation for the info gathering, and I will just fill it in so that I have it on record. That's my favorite way to keep my information, is in my HIPAA jot form. And so if they consider it, you can ask further questions to refine the quote and be like, okay, well, let me just get a little bit information to make sure that you are eligible for this. Also telling them it's something they may not have opens a window to conversation sometimes because they want it more. So you already know most of the stuff, and I'll skip it. Like an existing client, Josh, I did one for him. So I just put Josh last name and then skipped everything else I already knew. Like I know Josh lives in Texas. So I just put in, hey Josh, I just need to know, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? Do you have any health issues like asthma, high blood pressure, anything like that? Do you take any daily medications? And do you smoke? That's all you need to get a really refined quote. And then you can present a really solid offer. Be like, all right, yeah, so it's actually better than I told you. Or, because you smoke, it came in at this. But how does that sound to you? And they know they smoke. They know it costs more. But you're just making a soft offer. You're not wasting your time dialing a ton of clients. They're calling you. It's only on inbound calls. I imagine you do at least 10 service calls a week. So that's just the perfect opportunity to get people that you haven't got yet. So now talking about the three main types of insurance. So for younger people, a lot of times you're offering term, but sometimes whole life is the right option. Whole life or accidental. So my elevator speech for both, all three, is term is for if I die early in life. I hope I don't, but if I did, I made a plan. Most people never need it. They live to kiss their grandkids, and it's really affordable and can usually be bought without a medical exam. So you get a high amount of coverage for a low monthly premium. And then I'll say whole life is more expensive because it's permanent and forever. It's there if you're 30, 60, 90, 100, whatever. It builds cash value, which is a living benefit to you. And that's kind of it for whole life. I said that a little out of order, but that's the basic. And then accidental is if I die in some crazy way. Wow, I fell off a cliff, got hit by a drunk driver, victim of homicide, whatever. If I die in some crazy way, I have this really high amount of coverage for the most affordable premium possible, $250,000 for less than $20 a month. The top three leading causes of death under the age of 34 are accidental, so they're really great to get when they're younger. I've sold some to like 22-year-olds that called in because their mom was like, you're in charge of your life insurance bill now, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I love to party on the weekends, I'll buy one of those. And they're just not a bad little cross sell. So in regards to opening the conversation, just making that soft offer will often tell you what direction to go. They'll be like, oh shoot, honey, I don't need $250,000 of coverage. My house is already paid off. And you'll be like, well, it sounds like you just need a small, affordable final expense policy. I see that's this much per month, so on and so forth. Or you might offer them a whole life and they're like, I don't believe in whole life. Dave Ramsey says it's bad. And you're like, totally cool. I have options for everyone. I see term insurance is this much. It's just opening the window for them to tell you what they want without being like, hey, buddy, we haven't had a conversation about your life insurance, because nobody wants to have that. I totally promise you that. You're going to have to sneak it in. It's part of the sell. When they call in and they're new customers and they're buying a new house or whatever, it should just be included in the quote. Here's your homeowners and your mortgage protection. The monthly total is this for both. Not, hey, your homeowners is this much and your life insurance is this much. They're more likely to tell you to take it off. Just one price for both. For health insurance, this is the easiest cross-sell ever. I did it 10 times last month. 10 times I cross-sold without them even having the conversation of who do you hold your life insurance with? Do you think it's enough? So on and so forth. It was part of the we're getting you health insurance. This is also an employee benefit that you would usually get, so we need to make sure that you have that. You should take as good a care of yourself as your former employer did. If you're self-employed, that's awesome one for that. It's a really natural conversation. I don't ask them. I'm just like, hey, let's talk about your health. We figure out like what kind of health plan they need. Let's talk about your eyes. We figure out their vision. Let's talk about your teeth, your dental, and let's talk about being dead. It's all part of the package, and it's really easy to cross sell. It's just actually bringing it up in a very matter of fact, forward way. It's not, I might sell you something. It's, I'm here to sell you something, and it's part of a package together. Overall, that should bring you some success. I would love to hear some results from selling this week. I know there's a couple of you guys that are super hyped up and you're like, I'm going to do it this week. And I am here for it. So give me a shout if there's anything I can do for you, and have a good rest of your week.